Right. I see Saracen, you're doing it, yeah. Much love for the super chat. Examples being, should we deny our caveman instincts? Examples being polygamous, fighting other men for women and resources and controlling our women. You see, that's interesting. You say that because just on this part that it's not how you'd be actually very surprised how primates respond. So a female, so for example, he discusses in this book, and he's one of the world's leading primatologists. He discusses things like rape amongst monkeys and amongst bonobos. Or bonobos, they could never do it, but he discusses that generally it doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Like, and it's very fascinating that he highlights that study. He says that because he says as a one-off, if it did happen, he says what usually happens is that, let's say a chimpanzee overpowers a female chimp, and now he overpowers her. What she would do is go away, come back with female chimps, and they would beat him up. And what would usually happen is the alpha would also, they would beat him. It's not condoned behavior in the tribe of chimps. They don't. So maybe if they met a female chimp somewhere that didn't belong to the tribe, but usually where that happens, fighting breaks out. But if as a one-off they did something like this, like a rape kind of forced culture, but the culture doesn't exist because usually chimps live within tribes. So they could be anything like up to 150 50 chimps, let's say. They live together, anything going up to 100, going beyond. But they don't, because the females wouldn't have it. So usually what happens is the males kind of try to win over the females. So whoever becomes the alpha, they all want him because he has that position. And the alpha has them, and then the alpha allows other ones to have them, and he doesn't, and some he will be obviously jealous of and he won't. But some of them, the other males, will just mate, but they will kind of walk about, and he mentions the studies, they'll kind of flash themselves, and they'll do all this kind of like macho kind of walking, and they're trying to impress the females, and if she's okay with it, they will then mate. But it's not this culture of controlling how you would think. You see, you would think that, because to be honest, before I read this book with the studies, I would have thought that oh, they just control the females in the tribe. I was shocked to learn that actually that seldom ever happens, and if it happens as a one-off, they actually get together and beat that chimp up. And in bonobo tribes, it's actually matriarchal. So the women seem to overpower the women, the females overpower the males, even though the males are physically stronger. But so in a bonobo setting, it mentioned that one male and one female, it wouldn't be clear, but it's not hostile, but it's not clear. But as soon as there's just two females, the male becomes subordinate. Whereas in chimpanzees, it's not like that. So chimpanzees, the male refuses to be subordinate, but he wouldn't do something like control them. But he wouldn't let them control him, for example. He'd just do his own thing. So, but it's fascinating. I find this so. But yeah, so coming to the other parts of the question, polygamous, it is, you see, it is human nature, because we are ultimately creatures as well, and animals, and the species, they are, males are polygamous by nature. Now, in our current societies, monogamy is restricted to, I guess, one at a time. It's more like that. And yeah, I guess in some cultures it's just one lifelong, and in some cultures there's polygamous. Islam, to be fair, has always, it's never been against that nature of humans. It's just said that, look, this is probably going to happen anyway in many parts of the world, so why not just give rights and structures and to it? It's not that Islam tells people to be polygamous. It just understands that this will happen. And you see, in certain, so for example, in certain relationships, people will, I actually think, I'm saying this from my heart. I feel that many people in Western societies, or in societies where they don't have this concept of polygamy, I feel that deep down they do envy and wish they did have it, even though they won't accept that. But that's because I feel that, you see, there's many parts of a relationship where a relationship kind of breaks down, or it's having issues, but it still has some life to it. But people may embark on other relationships, and okay, Islam has, at least it has a concept where, okay, if all people involved are okay with this, it can still go on. And when I say okay, I get it that people won't be thrilled. It's not that they'll be thrilled, but it still allows the maintenance of some structure. Whereas, you see, in some societies, you're told that that's now an insult, and you have to be insulted by this, and you can't accept this structure. And thereby, I feel that people will, even if they were okay with it, they won't be okay with it because society will insult them. And so they have to break that tie, and they have to break that relationship. Whereas they may not even themselves be looking for another relationship, or they may not. You see, what I'm saying is that it does offer some, it's not a solution to all problems in relationships like some people would fantasize that it is. It's not, because it would just have its own problems. But it does offer some solutions to some problems, which isn't accepted in this part of the world commonly. And often what's interesting is that comes from women against women. That's interesting as well, but that's a discussion for another day. But when you see, when you said, do we deny these? I don't know what deny means. I definitely don't agree with the controlling women part. We do not control. Nobody should be controlling anyone, right? But the other things is, I don't know what that means in a natural setting. Obviously, each person to their own life.